The show took a 2-week break, and now we're back. With everything from the rising number of COVID cases in the state, the fight over masks, and skyrocketing unemployment, there was no shortage of things to talk about. But this week and this video, I wanted to slow down and pay homage and respect to two titans of the civil rights movement, John Lewis and C.T. Vivian. But in order to really understand their legacy and their impact, we need some context. My name is Joseph, and this is AJC in Context. Now, by no stretch of the imagination do I think I can detail all the incredible things that these two men have accomplished in their lives, especially in an under 4-minute video. The AJC has comprehensive coverage of both of their early lives, their activism, political work, and farewells to each of them. Links to all that coverage will be in the description down below. Now, something that's made me appreciate both of these leaders is their almost superhuman amounts of love and empathy that these two had, despite putting their bodies on the line and being physically assaulted on more than one occasion. Take C.T. Vivian, for example. On February 16, 1965, he and other activists were on the steps of the Dallas County Courthouse in Selma, Alabama, trying to register black voters. Standing in the cold rain, Vivian passionately articulated the argument for the right to every person to vote. Sheriff Jim Clark, a staunch segregationist, punched Vivian in the mouth, knocking him to the ground. And what did Vivian do in retaliation? Nothing. Instead, he picked himself up and continued to argue for the right to vote. Before being carted off to jail, he had 11 stitches put in his mouth. Quote, "I had to show I wasn't afraid," Vivian said in a 2013 interview with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. And John Lewis was no different. His commitment to love and nonviolence was emblematic in the very way he protested. It put the full extent of the state's government-sponsored racist oppression on display. Lewis and other protesters were met by nearly 24 state troopers in gas masks when they came across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. There, Lewis was beaten, sustained a skull fracture, and all while a chorus of racists chanted segregation forever. All of this because he believed in the right to vote and equality. They are regarded as heroes now, but when they were protesting and when they were in the thick of it, it was difficult. They stood by people when it wasn't popular, when it meant getting a criminal record or beaten in the streets, and they led with compassion and love. Obviously, there are so many stories depicting the type of heroism that was on display throughout their entire lives. That is why I highly suggest clicking some of the links down below and really reading what they stood for and how they lived their lives. But for now, I will leave you with this video our visuals team put together. It's of John Lewis being carried over that very same bridge one last time. But as always, my name is Joseph, and this is AJC in Context.
John Lewis is a legend, and his life spoke for itself. And coming from a Christian home, may the work I've done speak for me. I think his work spoke for him, and it gives me pleasure. I just had to be here, this close. It's no way that I could let this moment pass without giving him his due honor.
Selma is where Lewis became known to the entire world. I think that being here holds a certain level of importance and prominence because this is where Bloody Sunday happened. And so for me, it was important to be here along with my family to kind of relive that history for one last time.
Hopefully it gets changed to the John Lewis Bridge soon. Obviously I wasn't here in 1965 when Bloody Sunday occurred, and haven't had an opportunity to come to the bridge before, so I felt that being here today to see Congressman Lewis pass over the bridge one last time would be a very historical moment and opportunity, and I didn't want to pass it up.
I live in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was too young to appreciate this back in the 1960s. I've met John Lewis many times over the last few decades, and I'd have walked here backwards just to be here today. I got up yesterday morning, I heard about this on the news, ate breakfast, jumped in the car, and drove 12 hours. But let me tell you something. John Lewis didn't die. John Lewis's soul separated from his body. But John Lewis is more than a legend or an icon. He's an emotion. He's a feeling. Go up to the top of that bridge if you want to know where John Lewis is. He's always going to be there.
Long live John Lewis.